Hello, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Louisa and I make more videos on my high protein way of eating, but also on self-development. I'm a life coach where I help women specifically with their postpartum journeys, but also in their whole optimal health. So that means the right nutrition, but also everything in the mind. So if you do want to book a session with me, I will put my calendar in the show notes, or if you have any questions, always feel free to ask them in the comments. So today I want to talk more about carnivore pregnancy. I had my whole pregnancy, also prior to pregnancy, I was eating a high protein way of eating, carnivore. And I do want to help other people, other women out there who are maybe struggling with getting pregnant, that this could be maybe a nice way to look at. Little disclaimer, I am not a doctor, so I would always advise you to reach out to your own doctor when starting a specific new lifestyle, such as eating carnivore. I made another video when I was 3 months postpartum, so when my son was 3 months. I will add that here. This is just a little bit more of a video that I explain more about my journey. I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 18, and this definitely already kind of like put everything into my own hands, which I'm so grateful for, because I was able to do my own research, and I didn't want to take hormones, and I didn't want to get myself on birth control, even though I was advised by my doctor, but also by my gynecologist to take birth control. I did not do it, and I went first to do a keto approach, which definitely helps with your symptoms, with your PCOS symptoms. And then later on, I started to implement high protein, so a carnivore way of eating, and I finally had a regular period, because with keto I did not still had any regular cycle, but with eating carnivore, so high protein, I got my regular period, and then it eventually also led me to have my son get pregnant. And today I just want to talk a little bit more about carnivore. So what is it specifically? It just means skipping all basically food that can cause us inflammation. People call it also elimination diet. And it involves eating meat, fish, eggs, that's it. And chicken. Sorry, I was already thinking like, I forgot something. It's the chicken. So these things, anything that comes from an animal, you're allowed to eat. There are ways of people eating now, also a way of eating where they eat a lot of protein and they still consume fruits. That is an option. Or there's also people that are doing a keto approach, a carnivore approach with some keto aspects to it. For example, they eat some vegetables. So at the end, no diet fits all. So please do what is best for you. And I'm not here today to tell you how you have to do it. I will just give my own insights on what I did prior to getting pregnant. So I was consuming more protein. I was consuming steak. I was consuming fish, a lot of fish. I was obsessed with sardines. I don't know, like I have sometimes these periods where I'm like 1 month addicted to a certain thing. And I remember quite vividly, my memory is that I was consuming every day sardines, omega-3, from a can, just because I was craving it so much before getting pregnant. So I don't know if that was me like preparing myself, or that I was like ovulating or something like that. But I just remember that I was so like craving all the time sardines. Anyway, that's a side note. So I was just consuming a lot of high protein and healthy fats, also butter, consuming a lot of butter. I love still years already. I love my morning coffee where I just add like 10 grams of grass-fed butter into my coffee. I blend it. Sometimes I add a scoop of protein. Sometimes I add collagen. Sometimes I add even a raw egg and I blend it. But most of the times it's just my coffee and my butter, and I blend it, and it becomes this amazing frothy cappuccino without the milk, but with the healthy fats from the butter. So that's just super nice. And it's already like you start your morning in a very nice, like fulfilling, it's very satiating, the butter in your coffee. So it's filling, and it's a way also to kind of like, if you are into intermittent fasting, where you are, for example, consuming, or you're not consuming for what's like, let's say 12 to 16 hours, then having a fatty coffee is definitely a way to like enable to like, how you say it, to stretch up your timetable to eat. So whenever I have this coffee, I am definitely satisfied till 12 o'clock noon just to have my lunch. So it's just a little side tip if you do not want to have like strictly fasting, because sometimes it's just very stressful for the body. I prefer to have a coffee with butter because I feel full, I feel satisfied, and I can still at least skip a few hours before having my actual meal around 12. So carnivore definitely helped me to get my period back, but also it helped me with my body composition. So it was also great. Prior to getting pregnant, I just felt so much more strong. I have been years doing a keto approach, and I never felt as strong as I feel now with a carnivore way of eating. I am always saying carnivore way of eating because once a week, I love some veggies, not because I feel that it's super nutritious, but just because I sometimes love the crunch. So once a week or so, I love to just have a dinner where I'm just eating broccoli and some veggies and some salad, just because of, you know, the crunchiness. And I just love to mix it up once in a while. And I think that's completely fine. And I definitely notice whenever I eat or too much broccoli, cauliflower and stuff, that I feel bloated. And eating a carnivore way of eating, I never feel bloated. So that is already some like what I've noticed right away whenever I do consume like veggies. Why I definitely recommend PCOS, why I definitely recommend a carnivore way of eating for PCOS, because it stabilizes your hormones. Protein we need specifically. Us women, we should not be afraid of eating too much protein. We need the protein for our hormones, for our muscles. We need this. And the amazing feeling that also my sugar cravings, because doing keto, I felt still that I was still hungry, and I still felt like I had constantly these sugar cravings. And if you're doing carnivore and you're really upping the protein, you feel satisfied. The sugar cravings disappear, your body composition, your skin, your hair. There's a lot of amazing benefits eating carnivore. And obviously the biggest one is that I was able to give birth and have a child. That's like, I cannot empathize this enough. And I'm so grateful. And I thank God every day for this blessing in our lives, because I always thought that I was not able to get naturally pregnant. This was always kind of like, literally, I've been already like searching, Googling like clinics for IVF and all these things. So the fact that I got pregnant, I only want to encourage you to also check this out if you do have PCOS, and if you're now with your partner wanting to have kids. I mean, I just want to encourage you, there are ways to diminish your symptoms, definitely, and you are able to get pregnant. And I'm just so, grateful and thankful to be able to share this today with you, because I never thought I was able to make a video like this and explaining about this way of eating, and that I actually have a son. So absolutely fantastic. During my pregnancy, all 9 months straight, I was fully carnivore. I was really focused on, and I was craving, but like, it was so funny. I was craving meat. Some people have a meat aversion. I love meat. I wanted to eat steak. I loved it. One of the things is that the first months doing carnivore, the first month when I was pregnant, a lot of people around me said, "Oh my God, you should stop with the carnivore. This is really bad for you. You need to eat the carbs." I got very scared and anxious about it, because I was like, everyone tells me this, so maybe I should stop. But then I went to my intuitive self and I thought, okay, Louisa, the thing that got you pregnant, is that not also super beneficial during your pregnancy? So what got me pregnant was high protein, healthy fats. Why should I not also consume that during my pregnancy in order to have a healthy baby? So in the first month, I got very anxious, and I tried to kind of like, what was I eating? Like more veggies, but also like thinking, okay, maybe I do need to eat some oatmeal because that is high carbs and it will help for my baby. I felt super bad, to be honest. The first month I didn't felt myself. I felt super fatigued, a little bit sick, like morning sickness. So after a month I was like, this is not for me. I'm just going to follow what I know. And what I know is what I'm eating already for what was like almost 2 years prior to getting pregnant. So let's just do that. And I did that and I felt amazing. And I remember like the first month, after the first month, I was thriving. Like I started to work out again. I love to walk. I had super much energy. Also, I was drinking every morning my electrolytes. This definitely helps also with your morning sickness. So if you're currently pregnant, take your electrolytes. We need to be hydrated all the time, specifically for pregnant and during the summer. It's just super important to have enough water. And with the electrolytes, you're actually absorbing the water instead of just flushing it out. And what I was eating during pregnancy literally just was steak, entrecôte, anything really, like a lot of fish, and even sometimes like where I was just craving, you know, a coffee with butter. I was doing that and I was just adding protein scoops to it. And I just felt so good. So this is definitely something. There are a lot of like amazing quick recipes. I am not a chef myself. And I also not really enjoy cooking for hours. So I just like simple meals, burger patties, like all these kind of things are super easy. And it's always nice to kind of like stack upon these meats and just put it in your freezer. And like this, you just always have at hand some, you know, some meat, some patties, and like this, you never feel hungry. And this is something like so, like definitely helpful for me, that I always had something in the in the freezer that I can just warm up and then enjoy. So what I always have still in my fridge is butter. Then some meat, some fish, some cans. Now I have like sardine cans, tuna, you know, these kind of things, some salmon. Make sure that it's actually wild. That's super important. And that it's just not this, you know, brewed thing. Also, what helped me a lot was exercising. I've been exercising prior to getting pregnant, but also during my pregnancy, I loved to have resistant workouts where I was doing once a week a reformer class at a studio, but also at home resistant training. And I was using the Form app from that you can just download on the App Store. This was like super nice because it just has a very quick and like an effective workout, and every day you're training another muscle group, which I love because then you really emphasize on each body part and you're really training each body part. And I think that is a fantastic way of training. So if you're struggling with PCOS, you definitely should always check first with your health doctor, just to be like with your gynecologist, with your health doctor, just to really clarify if you're diagnosed with PCOS. That's step one. Maybe you do have the symptoms, but they check you and you do not have PCOS. So first, most formally is always to check first if you do have it. And then if you have any questions about it and you want to start your journey with me, you can always reach out to me and we can sit together, have a one-on-one on Zoom, and we can talk about it, like what you can do in order to get pregnant. This is one thing. However, it is always super important to do a little bit of your own research. I always encourage everyone just to do your own research first, just to see what are the options. What did you already do? What did you enjoy? Because maybe, as I mentioned earlier, not every diet fits one person. So you just check first what does make you feel good. Maybe you are more on a plant-based approach, which is also totally fine. So that is something that we can always find ways to tweak here and there. But yes, this is just a little bit short of a kind of like more in depth what I did and what I was consuming during my pregnancy, being doing a high protein approach. If you have any questions, feel always free to ask them in the comments or send me an email. I always love to help. And I want to thank you so much for clicking on this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.